So yeah, this is it's going to be another boring spring video. There'll be a lot of them like of late, I suppose, but it's going to be focused on specific aspects, I guess. I don't know what it's going to film like. It's a new phone, so you know. Anyway, it's going to be rainy day scents. You know, the kind of, at the moment it's obviously we're just pushing into spring, so here in the UK we get 4 seasons in a day and an hour sometimes. It's currently quite mild, but generally speaking it's our rainy season, and we had a lot of rain in winter, to be fair. So it's just them kind of, you know, spring like but kind of more cozy things, but sometimes obviously the rain can be warm. It's just what it is, okay? So yeah, let's get on to it. So first up is a kind of more, well, I suppose I'd say it's quite a cozy fragrance, and it's quite a big one, and that's from Thameen, and that's Carved Oud. Just as we get into it, really, kind of this one's always compared to oud wood and such like from Tom Ford. Yeah, it definitely has a similarity to it. It's not a million miles apart. Say more in the opening, then it does kind of do its own thing, but it's very classy and what have you. Whereas this is not a big, huge fragrance. It's not like a particularly cozy one, but it's got that kind of, you know, when it is lashing it down with rain and stuff, it's obviously all about the kind of woods and stuff. Now it is predominantly, like I say, the woods with this kind of oody, clean oody note, kind of more around the woody sense with a bit of sweetness in there. And the cardamom kind of adds to the fizz of it all. There is a lot of other things in there. It's kind of, it doesn't have rosewood listed. It actually has sandalwood, which does come out much later on. It's kind of a more smooth, soft woodiness with the musks and a bit of sweetness. But the sweetness, I presume, is more from the cardamom in this, and the kind of oody note, weirdly, than the actual the actual rosewood and stuff. Also, it's got cypriol in it, so it has that kind of, you know, that lovely kind of green oudiness, you know, kind of, I just want to call them noble woods. I don't know where I've got that word from, but it's just pure class. It's very smooth, it's very elegant, and it is just one of them, you know. You've got your thin raincoat on because it's spring, and you're just kind of walking like round here. You get the smell of the woods, the green woods and all of that, and that slight anisey tinge in there. It's a beautiful one. So that's Carved Oud from Thameen. Next is one that was bound to be in here, one of my more recent purchases. That's Lillian from Chanel. It's one I've loved for ages. I think Lillian is one of them love or hate ones, which is rare from Chanel. But I understand it's not going to be one that's for everyone, which is fair dues, isn't it, really? But it's very big, and that again kind of suits to these kind of wet, rainy, windy, sometimes cold days through the spring. And what I'd say about Lillian, the best way to describe it is if you've ever sniffed Coromandel, that element of it more comes in the dry down. The kind of, I don't know, there's not a lot of listed notes, but I would suspect there's benzoin and vanilla in there, and that's kind of what it dries down to. But it starts off with this big smoky labdanum, and the labdanum definitely is that kind of very leathery labdanum. Again, leather's not listed, but I would definitely say yeah there is, along with them smoky notes. It's very smooth. It's Chanel. It's barely worth noting, but in the opening there is a kind of bright citrusiness. That's, you know, that's Chanel, and that does fade quite quick, and then it is just this cozy, big, bonfirey almost labdanum, which, like I've said, generally kind of goes through it and it smooths out, and you get that kind of Coromandel. I'd say it's like a bit of a chocolateiness in it. I'm not saying this smells chocolatey, but it's that, you know, that kind of smooth, darker resin which kind of sometimes can lean you that way, especially for the vanilla and stuff. And it just cocoons you. It's very, very classy. It's very, very different again, for Chanel don't normally do fragrances like this. And that the fact they have done it and done it so well, maybe in the future, who knows, we might do a few more kind of along this kind of theme. It's lovely. That's Chanel's Lilion. Now again, as I say, sometimes, I mean, this probably could be a later video down the road, but you get this kind of, in the spring when it's been raining, you get this just rivers of mud, but it's all fresh and lovely, isn't it? And the smells and stuff you get. And it's also, because it's spring, you get this kind of sweetness from the grass and everything. Anyway, this is Blackstrap Betty from One Way Bridge. Now, it's all sweet and what have you. This is predominantly based around molasses, which over here in the UK we call black treacle. It's just like that liquid burnt sugar, isn't it? And there's coffee in there, as well as, I think there's probably New Zealand notes in there, and a beautiful stunning muskiness. But what it is it's just this rich black sweet scent. And again, it's not too sweet, because don't forget, molasses is kind of, it's like this burnt kind of feel about it, a burnt smell. It doesn't smell of burning and what have you, but it's a very dark, almost bitter syrupiness, isn't it? And that mixes so nicely with the coffee. The coffee, it smells like them syrups you pour in. If you ever taste them, you know, the ones from Starbucks, or what's it called, Costa, that are like 99% sugar with a bit of coffee. It's kind of like them, but the coffee is much more prominent, and it just is this smooth, dark, lovely fragrance. And I suppose again, rainy day kind of, the coffee kind of feel is, because you get in and you have a nice black coffee, warm yourself up, and it's just beautiful. So that is a Blackstrap Betty from One Way Bridge. If I would normally put this in here, I'm not here to advertise. If you haven't tried One Way Bridge, and you can get hold of them, she has issues. She's based in New Zealand, getting postage all around the world. If you're looking for indie that doesn't smell like what your preconception of indie is in your head, they're not mainstream by any means. They are interesting and different and unique, and they're not laden with molecular stuff. They don't smell like everything else out there. If you fancy trying indie, give these a try. There's some beautiful, I guarantee at least one of them in the collection. More than one, I'd say, would be for you. So anyway, that's Blackstrap Betty from One Way. Next is from Amouage. This is Gold Woman. I've gone for Gold Woman because it has this kind of, it's much more powdery and softer, and kind of even smells a little bit pink, I suppose you can say, in some ways. Now, people often compare Gold Woman and Gold Man to number 5. Gold Man definitely. Gold Woman, not really. Now, I imagine it's like one of the flankers. What's the one I don't like? The really powdery one. Is it the it's not an Eau Fresh, is it? I've just made that up. Whatever you know, my head can't think. It'll probably flash up on the screen. It's got all the elements of it. It's got the aldehyde, it's got the lovely lily of the valley. The difference is here, the rose, which also to me has a kind of powdery kind of sweetness about it. In there is kind of more of the noticeable thing, and it's like I say, it's powdery, it's pink, it's petally. And it's a very cosy one with them musks and the aldehydes, make it such like a fragrance. It's really enjoyable. It's a bit sweeter than the Gold Man, for example. Well, a lot sweeter, but it more than been about Lily of the Valley and that kind of soapy feel. It is the rose. Obviously, again, there's civet in the base, which gives it this nice warm purr, and the musks around it are really kind of sensual. It's the more kind of wrap up of the two, you know. wrap your coat or whatever round you and get all nice and cozy and snuggled up. It's just beautiful. And the rose, I'm saying all this getting snuggled up, the powderiness and that, the rose, like I say, because it's petally, has that kind of coolness of the actual petals. It's lovely, it's magnificent. It's one of their most underrated ones, I think. If you compare this to their modern day, whatever you want to call them, this is miles apart. This is different. This is artistry. This is delicate paintbrushes. There's no heavy, dense aroma chemicals in this. It's not overly generic. Yes, it does have a nod to number 5, but yeah, that's Gold Woman from Chanel. Next is a legendary fragrance. Again, you might have noticed a lot of these are sweet and powdery or kind of cocooning. This is an absolute legend, probably one of Kilian's biggest ever. If we take away the angels, shares, whatever, his Love Don't Be Shy. It's changed over the years, whether they say it's been reformulated or not, it has. But it's predominantly, we all know this, it's that huge, sweet, big, dense and sometimes fluffy throughout it orange blossom. It smells like that really dark orange. The marshmallow and the vanilla give it this kind of fluffy, almost, it is quite gourmand to be fair, like a dessert, and they give this kind of chewy nom nom, want a nom nom kind of texture, you know what I mean. And then obviously around it all, some beautiful Kilian musks, well, old Kilian musks. It's smooth in the opening. Yeah, the tiniest fleck of neroli, there is a bit of fresher feel, but it's just warm, it's cocoon. It's one of them where you'll, even if you can't pull it off yourself, if you smell it on someone, you are kind of like, And there are a million fragrances that smell like this now. Some of them have been done really badly, like Parfum de Marly versions, etc. But this is not the OG, obviously. There was lots of big orangey blossom scents before this, but this is the one we all know. This is the famous one. This is the one that was done really, really well when Kilian used to run the company, and it was, you know, it was all about class and sophistication and luxury, not cheap nonsense to keep pumping out to make loads of money. I'm not bitter at Estee Lauder, you know. Anyone who sells their company to them knows what they're going to get, don't they? So yeah, that's Love Don't Be Shy from Kilian. Next on the list is one that we all know, a very big famous fragrance again, and it is a lot bigger and it is a lot richer, and is one that I'll have to stop wearing in the spring, I suspect, for quite a while, and that's Dior Homme Parfum. The proper version. The old version, there was a reformulated version, and now it smells totally different, doesn't it, apparently. I've not sniffed it, so I'm not going to slag that off. But this is Dior Homme Parfum Original, whatever the hell it's known as. The one that was released in the 2000s and 10s, I believe. It's basically, again, it's got a lovely powderiness in it, I think, from the rose and I think there's iris in it. Well, of course there's iris in it. But it's what makes this different from the flankers before it is the leather. It's got a very smooth, plush, dark, sensual, gorgeous leather. And I'd say the musks again are quite amped up in this as it goes through it. And it's just this beautiful leather iris. And a lot of people, to me, don't seem to get the rose as much as I do. Maybe it's because I struggle with rose so much. But that rose is definitely there, and to me adds more of the powderiness. The iris is more kind of smooth sweetness in there. It doesn't have, hang on, the wind, the chocolatiness that the others kind of had from the iris. It's the smooth, classy, elegant, beautiful, big leather fragrance. So that's Dior Homme Parfum from Dior. Next is, I suppose this was always going to be in one of my lists, is Lolita, Lempicka, but the EDT. And I know again it's for a rainy day, but it's just, I appreciate the freshness when it's dull and wet and what have you. It has all the same kind of elements as the original. You know, it's got obviously the licorice and the violet and what have you in it, but what I'd say makes a slightly difference is it does definitely have more of a sparkle. It has more of a freshness. I also, for me, I noticed the ivy a lot more in this one in the beginning. The kind of darker greenness, but it's more crisp, I suppose, in this. And it just feels a little bit more airy. It's like Lolita Lempicka, the original, is more kind of a dark autumn forest, isn't it? Whereas this one is kind of the dark autumn winter's forest turning into spring. You get the notes are a bit fresher. The licorice is a little bit, well, I suppose you could say, more woody. The violet is a little bit more kind of airy than a thick syrupiness. It's really, really nice. And again, it is one, I suppose is it the darkness, the licorice and stuff in there kind of takes you to the more rainy kind of aspects of spring. It's beautiful. So that's a Lolita Lempicka, the EDT. Next we've kind of got a more wintry one kind of coming in, because of course, like I say, the wind and rain and stuff can be very chilly, even a little snow like, and that's YSL's Opium. I had to have one like this in, didn't I, really? The reason I've gone for Opium over the others is Opium has it's a little bit sweeter, isn't it? That kind of Coca-Cola vibe there. Again, I don't know really what's listed, but it's the cloves, isn't it? It's all about the cloves and the kind of florals in there have a sweetness, but it's got an edge. It's a little bit darker, it's spicy, it's big, it's warm, it's cozy, it takes you to the 80s. And them kind of big ones of them days. It's very muddy. It's just a kind of classic elegance, but it is that kind of cola-y, clovey sweetness that warms you up, makes you happy. And these fragrances, maybe I could have picked cocoa again, but this went for this one because it takes you to them. So it's one of them fragrances we call like an anti-fragrance, isn't it? Like a cool anti from the 80s, giving you a cuddle and what have you. It's just got that nostalgic warmth in there, as well as just smelling absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I don't need to waffle on about this. I think we all know what Opium smells like by now. So from YSL is Opium. And then I'm just putting this one in here because, again, like I was saying, this is more the end of the wintry snows, isn't it? And it's Viole Nere from Fuscuini. This is one I always talk about, especially through the autumn and the winter and stuff. It's like about the birth of spring, if you like. It starts off cold and dry and kind of barren, with this cool iris, this kind of chalky, you know, that potatoey kind of feel iris, and then it develops and warms up, and you get little flecks of greenness coming in there, slightly sweeter greenness, and then you get the little buds of the violet flower. There's this magnificent muskiness about it, a beautiful earthiness, and it is kind of like if you're looking out the window, especially at the beginning of spring, and you're seeing the kind of snows thaw and stuff, and you get the first green grass growing, and you get the first, you know, like your snowdrops here in this country, obviously violets in different countries and that. You start to get a smattering of colour, crocuses as well, and it just has them initial smells of spring. Once everything dead is starting to be reborn, you do get that kind of comforting sweetness and that, and it is a kind of, I think, like a looking out the window, frosty, rainy spring day kind of thing, and you're starting to get that good feeling again, aren't you? Just like knackered from winter, you're just like, oh. And this one just definitely warms your cockles and makes you feel kind of good and happy. So that's Viole Nere from the Fuscuini. And finally is another Dior. It's Eau Noire. I think mine's more of a, so many different versions of this. Mine isn't green, so I presume it's what the bottle I think was pretty new. I presume it's a newer formulation. Now, I have smelt older ones because obviously that's what made me fall in love with it. I'm talking about this one. The difference with the older one is it was a little bit more licoricey than I remember this being, and the licorice perhaps was a little bit sweet to the right word, more noticeable. This one is predominantly more, there's more coffee in this than I remember in the other one, I suppose. And again, that licorice and a kind of dark green note. It's just green, dark green and licorice kind of shine a bit more. Now, the best way I can kind of describe it now is, I think I was 3 or 4 hours ago I sprayed it. It's got a more powdery kind of beautiful muskiness, but it smells, how would you put this? The coffee is definitely more noticeable, and the licorice is a little bit more dry than green, like a crumble licorice root, you know. That's what I suppose it kind of reminds me of. But it's still got that lovely dense darkness. It's still got the green sweetness. It's a little bit smoky-ish, but it's more crumbly and lovely. There's no point comparing. This is just what my version's like, and it's very nice. And again, that kind of dark greenness that goes through it is very much a rainy spring day, isn't it? And the earthiness, you know what I mean? When the soil's all new and fresh and the green is all very verdant and that, it has a very specific smell, doesn't it? This kind of, it's not dank, but it's very slightly bitter, dark. That's what it smells of anyway. I'm waffling on and on and on. So yeah, that's Eau Noire from Dior. So yeah, that was just a brief, quick one. Hopefully it's nothing too bad, and it's just kind of getting back into the swing of this, isn't it? I know I was a bit waffly and what have you, and these rainy day ones, it doesn't matter what season it is, I guess. Mine's more focused around the spring era, season even, but we all have them, and whether we're out inside, if you're outside you want something a bit more, I suppose, pushing towards winter, don't you? You want something a bit sweeter, cocooning. If you're inside, you want them smells brought to you. That fantastic smell when it rains of everything. It's not just petrichor and things like that, is it? It's everything. It's the earthiness. It's the sweet flowers. Everything gets a little bit sweeter and stronger smelling after a fresh rain. So what about you anyway? What are your favourite rainy day fragrances? Do you really change when it's rainy, or do you just like to stick? Who sticks seasonally? Nobody does. And the thing is, definitely nobody in the UK, because we don't really have seasons now. We go from freezing bitter cold to scorching hot to kind of wet and miserable, back to cold, dark and freezing. It's kind of what we get here, and we can have all of that in a day. So there you go. Alright folks, thanks for watching, bye.